Okay, so my name is Kelsey Thornton. I am from Kentucky, originally Louisville, but we live in Indiana. And the reason I actually got started was just for like 500 bucks, you guys. I was like, I was literally over not having money to get my hair and my nails done. That's literally why I got started because I was like, you know what? This is for the birds. I am literally done like not having my hair and my nails done. I was like used to kind of getting that stuff done. And then when we had my daughter, all that money for my extra stuff was going to daycare. And I was like, wait, what? Like, how? I didn't plan for this. Like, I knew that having a kid would take away my independence, it would take away my body, but I forgot about the money part. And so I ended up kind of talking to my husband about it. We were like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, we're both working full time, 40-hour a week jobs. Like, why are we struggling? It does not make any sense. Like, we both did everything right. We both went to school. We both got our degrees. We both have our masters. And it was like we were still struggling. And I think that when people say struggling, it's all relative, right? So for me, if you would have looked at my life and you would have been like, you weren't struggling, but it's all relative to what you expect out of your life, right? So it wasn't what I was used to living like, okay? And not that I grew up like buying Louis Vuittons or anything like that, but I did grow up where my parents, if we were going out to eat and my parents wanted to pay for everybody, they could and they would. And like they would give and they would, give to the church and they would give to different places. And I just saw that. And so that's how I thought it was going to be. I was like, well, we have a job and we have our degree and, this is going to be the same thing for our life. And it's not because the generation is different, you guys. And so even though it was true when our parents were growing up that, you go to school, you get this job, you get this degree and you get this job and you're pretty much good. That's not the same for our generation. Right now, the average millionaire is having 7 sources of income. And so I had read that article and me and my husband were talking about like, we were driving to this really nice part of Indianapolis and I was like, oh my gosh, like who lives in these houses? Like, I'm so confused. And then it was just like $500,000 house after $500,000 house after $500,000 house. And I was like, what are these people doing? I need to know what they're doing. And he was like, I just feel like everybody has a side hustle. And I was like, okay, well then I'm going to try to like think about it. And like the first thing I thought about was the fact that I saw this girl on social media posting about how she was making money from her phone. And I was like, I wonder if she's really making money. And so I messaged Kyle Tweed because I knew him from college. And I was like, okay, what's your wife actually doing? And he was like, she's working for this health and wellness company. You would be really good at it. You should talk to her. So I messaged Aaron and we got on the phone and I just kind of was like, okay. I'm 0% green. I know I don't care about the details, you guys. I was like, well, she can do it, then I can, then I can at least try. What's it going to hurt? And even though $99 was like a lot for me to come up with, I knew that if I didn't have it then, I wasn't going to have it 6 months from now either because my situation was going to be the exact same. And so I just kind of sucked it up and took some of that extra money. It wasn't really extra, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like I kind of sacrificed one thing to sign up. And I just kind of was like still skeptical, got the products. And then I was like, I lost 1.5 inches on the wrap and my husband lost 2.5 inches. And I was like, holy crap. This stuff really works. Babe, I think we're about to get rich. And he was like, great, honey. And I remember kind of having a conversation with Aaron, and it was right after I went Ruby, and they had $1,000 Ruby bonus at the time, and she had called me and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, thanks. She's like, I need you to send me your diamond chart by the end of the night. And I was like, a diamond chart? Like, isn't the next thing emerald? And she was like, yeah, but I need you to send me your diamond chart. She was like, we're just going to like skip emerald. And I was like, okay. She's like, cause emerald, it's one of your people is already, you're going to be fine. So I was like, okay. And I remember I didn't have a printer. I think it was a Sunday. And so I turned over like a back of a used paper and I drew out my diamond chart, like all boxes. Okay. And I had 12 spots left. And I was like, what? This is like not going to happen. And she was like, no, it's going to happen. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep getting people in the system and I'll help you with all the other stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to keep working like I'm working. Like I really didn't, I mean, I paid attention to my chart, but I didn't really pay attention to it like a lot. I was just doing the stuff that I needed to be doing. And so I remember just like it just happened. Like it was crazy because I was enrolling and then like I had probably like 3 or 4 people that were really working on my chart that were enrolling too. And so I was just like, wow, like holy crap. We just added 12 people to our team. Our volume went from 4,000 to 17,000 in 1 month. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? And I mean, I signed a lot of customers, I probably signed like 20 or 25, but like, I didn't get obviously all that volume by myself, but we just didn't know that that was not normal because it was just like, yeah, we're pushing for diamond. So that's what you do, right? That's what everybody's doing. And they were pushing for emerald and they were pushing for ruby and they were pushing for executive. So like everybody was a part of the promotion. So we promoted to diamond, got a $10,000 bonus. And then, the September, Brian promoted to diamond. So we were both diamond. And then I went to conference in February of 2016. It was my first conference. And they came out with double good bonuses. And it was like crazy. Like it was like a $30,000 double diamond bonus. And me and Brian both got it. And so we got $60,000 in bonuses. And then conference is really when it clicked for me that like I could really do this. Like, I mean, I knew I could do it obviously because I was a diamond already, but like doing it for a season in your life and then doing it for your lifetime are 2 different things. And I think that that's really when it clicked for me at my first conference that like, no, I'm going to be doing this for like a really long time. This isn't just something for temporary money. This is something that I'm going to be doing for a really long time. And that was really cool because that helped my confidence with when I was approaching people about the business. It wasn't like, hey, just come make like some money real quick, until you get over the situation. It was like, no, this can change your whole situation. And as my belief rose, my income and my check rose. And so then we both got $60,000 in bonuses. It was crazy. We had our first 5-figure paycheck. And I was just like, holy crap, this is crazy. And I'd already quit my job. I quit my job about 9 months after joining. So right before that. So like in December. And so in January, I mean, I was just busting butt. And then this 2017, so a year ago, we went back to conference and they came out with like, it was the Go and the Go Fast bonus. And it was crazy. And we got $100,000 in bonuses. And Brian and I both went triple because it was $50,000 each. And then we had 7 people go diamond, which is awesome. And so they all earned a $10,000 bonus. Like it was craziness. So that's kind of my journey so far. Prez is coming up soon. But right now I'm just really focused on helping my team, get to where they want to go. Because I know I'll get to where I want to go if I do that.
I love that. And also for you girls on here, Alyssa is one of those who went diamond and got the $10,000 bonus. So, yeah.
Yeah, Alyssa's awesome.
While we're on the subject of bonuses, just explain, because I feel like I tell people about the emerald bonus, and then once they see the emerald chart, they automatically freak out and like they think there's no way. So explain how attainable it really is, because technically if you enroll people and all the people you enroll are working, you technically only have to personally enroll 4 distributors.
Yep. So really I think that the Emerald this is the most attainable bonus that they've ever come out with. That's significant money. And so, we had the $500 and $1,000 Ruby bonus, and not that that's not significant, but it's just different than a $5,000 bonus, right? So with the Emerald bonus, the way that I'm telling people is that you just need to find two people who want to work and that want to get $500. And if you want to help two people get $500 and work with them closely every single day, then you can get a $5,000 bonus. Now, you can't start off slow. You're going to have to jump in and start off fast. But this company is, Pam Souter said last year they paid out $5 million in bonuses to people. And this year they'll do 10 times that from the Emerald bonus. That's $50 million in Emerald bonuses that they're expecting to pay out. And so I think that you guys kind of have to realize that plenty of people out there are getting it. Are you going to be one of them? Because it's doable if other people are doing it.
I love that. And that's why I love being part of a debt-free company, because they can afford to pay out these bonuses like that. It's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move into the questions, and these are all questions from the girls on the team. So how do you handle it, or what do you do if you're doing all these product posts and everything, and this same person literally comments or messages you about every single product, and they play the 20 questions game, but then they never actually order? At what point do you just okay, stop asking questions if you're not going to order, or
right.
How do you handle that?
So, it's so situational. If I saw a screenshot of a specific conversation, I could probably give you a better answer. But I think that, for me, I'm always asking them questions. I'm like, so what are your health goals? And if they're like, well, I want more energy. And I'll be like, okay, so do you work out? Do you need energy for working out? Or is it just everyday energy? I'm asking them questions, because once I figure that out, then I'm going to be better able to explain to them how the product that I'm suggesting is going to help them. So for instance, if somebody's wanting energy for when they work out, now I'm going to suggest Keto Go, because that's a pre-workout essentially for people on keto. And people on keto can't use pre-workouts because there's so much sugar in most of them. And so I'll talk to them about that. I'll ask if they're on keto. If they want more energy, I'll ask if they're coffee drinkers. And I'll say, girl, replace your $7 Starbucks daily addiction with our $2 keto coffee. And I'm asking them questions. So I think that when it gets into that person that's constantly asking, you kind of at some point have to say, so what are your health goals? Because I want to help you accomplish them. And then what's your budget? Because if you're letting them control the conversation, then it's not going to end the way you want it to end. If you're controlling the conversation, then they're going to be able to tell you one way or the other how serious they are about ordering. So, and that's okay to ask them, how serious are you about ordering? How close are you to ordering? Is this something you want in the next week, or is it going to be a year from now?
I love that, because how you always end the message with a question, that makes them kind of feel a little bit more obligated to respond. And you're supposed to make the conversations about them anyway, because really it is. It's about their goals. And if they want to be a distributor, it's about what their reasoning is. So I love that. And how do you find the balance between pushing your team? Obviously you want your team to be successful. You want to push them, but you don't want to be too pushy or too bossy. Yeah. How do you find the balance?
So this is a question I get a lot. And the thing that I tell people is I'm only working with people who are working because they're out there. And I'll ask that person and I'll remind them of why they joined, but I'm never going to ask them to do something that they didn't tell me that they wanted. And so every single time, I'm calling them and I'm having conversations. So for instance, I had a girl join my team on Friday, so a week ago today. And, she had this big talk about we did this hour training one-on-one. She did this big talk about how, she really wanted to do this and that. And she wanted to do all these big things. Right. And then she hadn't posted for 2 days, and I called her today, and I had placed somebody on her team And I had said, hey girl, what's up? And she's like, hey, have you connected me and so-and-so yet? And I was like, actually, I haven't. And she's like, okay, well, can you want to send me your number? And I was like, and I'm trying not to sound like a bitch when I say this, but I'm not going to send her your number and be like, hey, this is your leader if you're not doing what I want her to be doing. And that's not attack on you. That's just a business decision for me, because I'm not going to tell her to go follow somebody who's not doing what I want and expect her to be doing, because right now she's posting more than you. And so at this point, like, I'm fine with training her. And once you do like start doing this stuff, like then that I know you're capable of and I know you can do, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to connect you guys. But just at this point, like, I don't want her to like, for lack of a better word, like learn kind of bad habits or think that it's okay to take like 5 days off of posting. And she probably was a little bit salty that I said that, but I had asked her before and I had said, do you want leadership? Like, do you want this? Do you want it? Do you think you can handle it? And she said, yeah. And so when she's acting like that, like, I feel obligated to call her and be like, hey, what's up for you? Like, you said you wanted to do this. You spent $99. It's not about me and my chart, because I can always replace that person. Like, if you don't want to do this, I'm not going to beg you to do this, but I am going to remind you of why you want to do this. And I'm going to tell you, hey, I know you really wanted to, pay for your college and start something different. And you know what? I get the fact that life happens, but the stuff that's happening to you is the same stuff and reason why you said you wanted to join. And so I think that there's so many things that, like, I say that a lot of people maybe are scared to say, or they don't know how to say it. And I don't know how to say it either. I just know that I always preface it by saying, this is not because I'm trying to be rude. This is because I want you to succeed, if that makes sense. Like, because I'm never trying to, like, it's never a personal attack on them as a person. It's just, hey, you told me you're going to do this and you're not doing it. Or, you're still complaining about the same thing you joined for, but you're not doing anything to change it. And so I think that a lot of times nobody has that voice in their life. And so most of the time people appreciate you being real and honest with them, rather than beating around the bush and being like, oh, I'm just not going to call her because she's not working, or, you getting salty like inside, but not saying anything to anybody else about it. It's so different, because you should really focus on what that person joined and trusted you for, because it's not about you. They're not trying to make you money. They're trying to make themselves money and change their circumstance. So I think that just kind of reminding them of why they joined, what they said they wanted, and asking them if anything's changed. Has anything changed?
That is so good, and it actually brings up something that's like been on my mind for the last couple of days. I actually don't have this written down, so I'm going off script here, but it's been on my mind, so I'm going to ask. I think you said it was Jessica Harsha, like her thoughts and like what she wants to say to people are red, but like whenever it comes out yellow instead. And I'm like the same way. Like, I so badly want to just be like, okay, this is why you joined. This is what you need to do. You have to do this, 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 and get it done. But when it comes out, it just doesn't come out like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know like what the best way would be for me to handle that situation, because I don't know. I haven't adapted, I guess, to my own personality type, I guess. So I have a hard time relaying my real thoughts, because when they come out, they're not really my actual thoughts. They're just yellow.
I think the best advice I can give you, and the advice that I gave her, is to write it down. Because when you write it down, you're writing down your thoughts, and then you can find different ways to say it. Because my thoughts, like, I speak as I talk. So sometimes that's why I have like literally no filter, because sometimes it'll be like, I'll say it and I'll be like, crap, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But I think that a lot of times when you are a thinker and you don't speak it, there's like a disconnect, because you're so used to being really nice. And so when you feel like you're being mean, when you're not really being mean, you're just leading with love, right? There's this struggle between your heart and your head. Okay. And what happens is, I think, is that it gets convoluted. Well, it's okay you didn't post, like, it's fine. No, I get it. Life happens. And it's like, in your head, you're like, no, it's not fucking okay. Like, it's not. Like, you should be posting whatever, like, you want to say. But I think that we have this thing in our heads that we feel like we should say. This is what we should say, right? It's what we feel like we should say. But our heads know different. And you really know what it's going to take to be successful. And you are doing people a disservice by not being honest with them.
Preach. That is so good. I needed to hear that.
Because if you aren't, then who else is going to be? And who else is going to tell them the reality of what it takes to be successful? And if they can't trust you to be honest with them, then what can they trust you with? Definitely not their success. Because as a leader, you have to value making an impact more than you value people liking you.
I knew you were going to tell me exactly what I needed to hear. I love it. I love it. So, what tips do you have for like signing distributors? Because at some point we've all had a conversation where we feel like we're really like, we're trying to talk them into it, but at the same time, we don't want to force them, because if they feel forced, they're either not going to join, or when they do join, it's not going to last because it's not really something that they wanted.
So I love the feel, felt, found rule. Okay. So this is something I think I read it in a book somewhere. But it's applicable to every aspect of your life. So you're going to want to write this one down, because it's helped me so much, like in my marriage, in my freaking whatever, like it's helped me even with my kids. Okay. So let's say, Caitlin, like what's a common thing that you get right now, or you feel like you're constantly coming across, with distributors?
Right now with distributors, it's either they don't have the money, which then I always tell them that they can pre-sell their wraps, and I tell them now about the other free products that they get in their kit so they can make back more than their investment, or they tell me that they just have their hands full right now and don't have the time, which then I usually say the busiest people usually do really well because they're really good at time management. And if you go to a job or go to school every day, then that's new people that you can talk to every day, and that's going to help your business. But it just seems like they're not really going for it.
So I think there was this phase in our business when everybody started messaging that everybody was like, they said this, what do I say now? And we have these little like scripted answers, right? And they're valuable in some situations. However, I have personally found that this has helped me more than those scripts, because all that stuff is true, but you're just saying it differently. So what I do is, let's say somebody was like, I don't have the $99. This is what I would say. Caitlin, I totally understand how you feel. I didn't honestly have the $99 either. I felt that way before too. But what I found is that I didn't have $99, and I was working full time, and my husband was working full time, and we didn't have $99. And when I said that to myself 5 times, I realized that was exactly why I needed this business. And that's it. Like, so what I did there was I used the feel, felt, found rule. I understand how you feel. I felt that way before, but here's what I found. So if you want to do it with the busy thing, girl, I totally understand how you feel. If anybody understands how you feel, it's me. I felt that way because when I joined the business, I was working at a bank full time. I had a 5-month-old daughter who was not easy. And shortly after that, I got pregnant. And so if I would have waited for a perfect time, guess what? My ass would still be waiting, because I have a 1 and a 3-year-old, and my life has actually sped up since I've joined this business. But what I found was that even though I thought I was busy, there were moments throughout the day that I could be working at my business. What was I doing after I put my daughter to bed? Sitting on the couch watching Netflix, sitting on the couch watching The Bachelor. And so I just traded some Netflix time or some Bachelor time for answering people's questions and maybe posting an extra post. So I totally understand where you're coming from, but I found that I actually had a little bit more time than I thought I did. Do you think that you have a little bit more time?
That is so good. I always like with the $99 thing, because I didn't have the money at first either. And I always tell people, like, yeah, I totally get that. I didn't have the money either. I actually had to wait for my husband to get his next paycheck, and then we had to pay one of our bills late, so I had the $99. But I love the feel, felt, found. I wrote that down. I'm so going to use that. That is amazing.
And I think what it does is it allows people to see that you're a real person and that you're relatable, but it takes their guard down. Because if somebody were to come at me and say, when I said I didn't have $99, and they would be like, well, you need to go pre-sell things, I would be like, okay, no. Like, but if somebody was like, girl, I understand that. Like, that was me too. I'd be like, really? Like, thanks for making me feel better. Like, I think that it's just like a different thing, that a different approach that makes people kind of be a little bit more relaxed.
That is so good. So, if you have a bad habit that gets you off track, how do you avoid it and keep pushing? Like, obviously the bad habit would be like a sweet tooth if you're on a diet, but say for the business, your bad habit is just, I do this. I still get caught in the scroll hole, but how do you just try to avoid that and just keep pushing towards your goal?
I think you just focus on it. You just focus on the fact that, and you remind yourself every day, like write down, like, I will not scroll. Or if you get stuck scrolling, start out and, first thing in the morning, set a timer for 5 minutes and scroll. And allow yourself to do it for 5 minutes. And then once the timer goes off, don't scroll anymore. But if you're constantly thinking about it, you're going to pick up on it way sooner. And so if you keep focusing on it, you're going to be so much more self-aware that you're doing it. And so you might be scrolling for only 2 minutes instead of 6 minutes, and it's okay that it still happens, but you need to pat yourself on the back sometimes when you do find yourself doing it. Be like, dang, okay, I caught myself. Like, I'm not going to do that again. No more scrolling. Like, and sometimes I even like talk to myself out loud. I'll be like, okay, no more scrolling. Okay, no more. Like, but, I think that there's things that you need to kind of do and just be aware. And that's why I think the most self-aware people are the most successful, because they're aware that they're doing things. Like, a lot of people can't admit that they have bad habits. A lot of people can't admit that, they get stuck in the scroll hole and they think they're working all the time when they're not. Like, so I think the fact that that you have that, but just maybe focusing on it and making that something very intentional that you try to stop, because you're not going to be perfect, but kind of realizing like, okay, I'm not going to be perfect, but I need to stop doing it so much. Or maybe I need to just do 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes before I go to bed. And then, try not to do it the rest of the day. But the other thing that I would do with scrolling is like what I've been doing that's working for me, because I have that same problem, is like I'll open Facebook up to do something, and I'm like 20 minutes later, I didn't even start to do what I was freaking supposed to be doing. And so what I do is, like, when I'm opening Facebook, I literally talk to myself and I'm like, okay, I need to go make a post, or like, okay, I need to go message people. Okay. Or I need to go get a post idea. What kind of post am I looking for? Like, I'll think my thoughts out loud, because if not, the moment you open Facebook, your thought that you were supposed to be having wasn't even finished, and it got cut off by whatever is right in front of you.
That is so true. I am absolutely going to start setting a timer now, because like you said, there have been times where I got on, I already had a post in my mind, and that's what was going to be on my page that day. And then boom, I've been on Facebook for half an hour while the kids were napping. Perfect opportunity to get work done. And I did nothing but scroll and read just random crap.
Have you heard of the Focus Keeper app?
I don't think so. But
Okay.
It sounds like something that I need.
So it's this little like grapefruit looking thing. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So they did this study. I don't know who they is, but some people did this study. And they looked at like what your like highest attention span amount of time is, and it's 25 minutes. Okay. And you can take a 5-minute break and then do another 25 minutes, and you can do that 4 times. So it's like a total of like an hour and a half, I think. Because it's like 25 5-minute break, 25 5-minute break, 25 5-minute break, and then the last 25. So it's 4 rounds of 25. with 5-minute breaks in between. And all it is, it's a timer, but it does this. And some people find that really annoying, but I found, like, because when my kids are napping, if I hear that, it's like go time. I'm like, like, I gotta go. It's like, you're on the clock, and like the buzzer's about to the beep. And so like that has really helped me. You can still have the timer and just turn the sound off if you don't like the clicking. But like I just turn the sound really low and then do it. And then like I'll do 25 minutes of messaging. And then I'll do 25 minutes of creating posts. And then I'll do 25 minutes of adding to my network. And then I'll do 25 minutes of cleaning my house.
Seriously, that is gold. I love it.
Yeah, it's free too. Focus Keeper.
So for Facebook Lives, like, how was your experience, like the first time you went live, and how long did it take for you to feel comfortable doing it? I know being uncomfortable is a good thing, but like as far as just the live videos, when did it really start to set in that like it was no big deal and you can just do it?
I don't know. I mean, I think when I got confident in myself, because I think some people have a personality for it and some people don't. And some people are better in person and some people, whatever. But the way that I view Facebook Live is I'm not trying to get a customer. I'm not trying to get a distributor. But what I'm trying to get is I'm trying to get people to know me better, to feel more comfortable, to reach out to me. So the whole purpose is so people can get to know my personality, because otherwise I'm just a picture. And so it's like, they don't know me. They don't know how I talk. They don't know how casual I am. They don't know that I'm like super sarcastic and weird and awkward and really don't care what my hair looks like 90% of the time. Like, they don't know those things. And so I literally just try to be like so authentic when I'm on there and not perfect, because nobody can relate to that. Like, I don't like people that are perfect, because I'm not. And so it makes me feel uncomfortable. And so I don't expect myself to be when I'm on Facebook Live. Like, I've had to pop my kids on Facebook Live before. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where I think that you have to set right expectations for what you're trying to accomplish out of that Facebook Live, and not just go Facebook Live for what? What are you trying to go Facebook Live for? Like, once you have the reason why you're trying to go Facebook Live, then understanding, oh, okay, that's, maybe I can do that in a story and not do it Facebook Live. Or maybe I can do that, something different. But don't just go Facebook Live to go Facebook Live. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so when you were first getting started, did you find that you kind of just struggled trying to get new people interested in the products or the business?
You guys, I was just so freaking excited. I was just so excited. And that is so contagious. If you are, doesn't even matter if you know crap about what you're talking about, but if you are excited, people are like, what is she doing? Because how many people are excited in life? Like 1%. And so if you bring that energy, people want to be around that. They want to be around that. And so I was just so excited. And I didn't really like, what was I scared of? Like, I don't understand a lot of times when people are like, well, I'm just so scared to message. I'm like, what's scarier than being in the same spot a year from now? Definitely not messaging. People are probably saying crap behind your back anyways. Might as well ask them to say it to your face.
Mic drop.
I mean, it's like, what are you so scared of? Like, there's really, like, you should be worried about your changing your life. That's why you join. That's the only thing you should focus on. Because all the rest is secondary. But that didn't really answer your question. So I think that because I was so excited, I've never been like a mass enroller, you guys. Like, I mean, I've enrolled like 20 plus customers before, which is a lot for me. But like, Some people more freaking crazy amounts, like 50 distributors a month. You guys, like, I don't do that. I probably do like average between 6 and 10 distributors and between probably 6 and 10 customers. Okay. So that's not like crazy. But what I'm really good at, I feel like, is developing relationships with the people that do join my business and coaching them. Like, I am freaking the biggest cheerleader. Like, when people get their first no, I like call them and I'm like, dude, I'm so freaking proud of you. Like, I don't care that it was a no. The fact that you freaking messaged somebody is badass. Like, I'm seriously just cheering them on about everything. Celebrate the failures just as much as the successes, because the failures are what makes you successful, you know? Like, so I think that like that's my thing, is that I am not trying to get 45 million people. So when I'm talking to people, I'm having a genuine conversation with them. And yeah, I mean, do I have scripts? Absolutely, to like explain what the business is, because it's not different when I talk to different people about it. When I'm talking to them about them, it's not a script. It's not a script. And so I'm being a friend. I was telling the girl who I was training this morning, I said, the moment you join this business, anybody who's interested in the business or the products, you need to talk to like they're your best friend. Like when I first joined this business, somebody would ask me about the wraps, I'd be like, it's a botanically based cloth and it tightens and tones and firms. Now when people are like, hey girl, tell me about the wraps, I'm like, girl, you need them in your life. Let me tell you about these wraps because they're about to change your life. Like, that's literally how I talk to them. Anybody, I don't care if I've never met them before, because that's me. Why am I going to be different? And so I think it has to be like super authentic. And I think you have to like come up with a way that you explain the products that's like genuine and authentic to you, or and not that it has to be like the totally different product description, but like it can't be like copied and pasted from Product Coach. Like, you know, it's an herbal 2-day cleanse that's going to detoxify and magnesiumify your body. Like, who cares, bro? Like, they're really just asking you if it works. They just want to know what it does and how it's going to make them feel. And so that's like the basic, my best advice when it comes to getting anybody on your team, customers or distributors. The second advice I can give you is be organized. And so how I stay organized is I send out my messages, and anybody who messages me back, like if it's not a no, I write their name down in my calendar on the day that I talk to them. And so if it's Facebook, I just put their name. If it's Instagram, I put like the @ sign, like with their handle. And if it's their phone number, I just put the hashtag in their name. So then I know like what platform I'm talking to them, because trust me, I spent way too much time, more than I care to admit, like looking for somebody on Instagram that I was talking to on Facebook. Okay. So like just trying to have like an organization system on there, because I do work both. And so, but I started doing that in like November, because Morgan McIntyre was telling me that she did it. And it totally changed the game for me, because I had a lot of conversations, more than I realized, fall off when they they just fell off. Like, and it was like, I mean, I messaged them back, but like it just kind of ran out of air. And so then I would just like go back, and like 2 days later, let's say I talked to them on Monday. On Wednesday, I would look at who I talked to on Monday and make sure I was still talking to every single person. And if I wasn't, I would go back to the message and be like, hey girl, I'm so sorry. Like that, I don't know what happened. My kids were probably being crazy. But did that all make sense? You know, and like I'll always fall on the sword and blame it on me. Like, I'm so sorry we never connected, or I'm so sorry this or that. Like, and just take, blame it on me. And I'll be like, I actually have one spot left or whatever, just to kind of restart the conversation. And that's helped me so much.
That is so good. And you actually may have just gone ahead and answered the last question, because the last question is, what is the best tip that you could give to someone who is just starting out?
Ooh. Don't be ashamed of what you're doing. Don't be ashamed of what we're doing. Like, I don't have like it works on my like profile name because I don't think that I know how people think, and I don't want them to think that they're going to come to my page and be sold. But it's not because I'm ashamed of what we're doing. I know the power of what we're doing. And you guys, it's incredible what we have our hands on. Like, we work for a freaking amazing company. We don't even work for them. We work with them. Okay. We work with an amazing company that changes people's lives and that truly cares about us. And if you guys could walk into the corporate office and see how they treat people like that work for their corporate team, you would realize how incredible this opportunity is, because you didn't have to get hired. You didn't have to pass a background test. They don't care what your freaking credit score is. And you can make more than any other job that cares about those things could ever pay you. And this business is something that no matter what Sally Joe down the street says to you, it can and will change your life if you believe it will. But the belief is the biggest thing, because if you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. There's a quote that says, "The man who says I can't and the man who says I can are both right." Think about that. The man who says they can and the man who says they can't are both usually right. And that is the power of your mind. And so if you're not believing, be honest with yourself and start asking, why am I not believing? And it's one of three things. You don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in the company, or you don't believe in the products. And like by company, I mean like the network marketing as a business, right? And so whatever that is, you have to be honest and go find the answers to the questions, because most of the time it's just ignorance. And I don't mean that in a rude way, but what I'm saying is it's just a lack of education, because this is not a conventional occupation. This is not something that you hear people doing every single day. And so if you don't believe that it can work, then you need to go read more testimonies. Then you need to go to an event and listen to a One Team, One Mission. Then you need to get your butt to conference. And I don't mean watch a live. I mean, get in the room. Because if you don't, you aren't going to feel the authenticity and the energy that comes from that room. It's just like going to church. Like, yeah, it's great. If you're sick, you can watch church online, but it's not the same. It's not the same as going, because you don't feel the energy in the atmosphere. And so I think that you have to really ask yourself, and you know what? This is so true too, that whatever you find yourself getting, so Caitlin, you find yourself getting the $99 and the busy, it's honestly probably the ones that you struggle answering yourself. Like, you probably struggle with your belief of, am I too busy for this? Do I have enough money for this, for my auto shipment? And so if you are struggling with those things, those are the questions that oftentimes you get the most. And so you're going to have to go borrow somebody else's belief for the time being, or talk to somebody else through those fears and through those struggles to figure out how you're going to overcome that barrier in your business. And so don't expect this to be a smooth ride. If it was a smooth ride, everybody would be doing it, right? But that's why you have this, and you're always going to have this. But that doesn't mean that the business is a bad business model or a bad business plan. What that means is it's a business. Think about the restaurant industry. Think about Ugg boots as a manufacturer. Do you think that they were like, Uggs suck because it's the summer and nobody's buying them? No. They just realized that it's a season thing. And that's the same thing with our business. And it's not, the seasons aren't the same for everybody in our business. But the typical trend is that people stop working their business in summer because they're going on vacation and because they get lazy. And then that hits them in September and October. Okay. And that's when their business feels the effects, because it takes about 3 months for the effects to be felt of this business. So what you do now is going to show up on your paycheck in 3 months. And so you have to be willing to give this some time. You have to be willing to believe in yourself that you can do it. You know, I always tell people, I'm like, I was never scared of hard work. But what I was scared of is that I was going to be working so hard and not getting compensated for it. And so now I found something where I can work really hard and I'm going to get paid for it. And so if you believe that you're a hard worker, then you can make this business work for you. So whatever belief you're struggling with, be honest with yourself and talk to Caitlin about it. Talk with Alyssa about it. Talk it out and really get to the bottom of, why don't I believe in myself? Why don't I believe in this business, or why don't I believe in the products? That would be my best advice.
You are just preaching. Thank you so much for getting on. And
You are so welcome.
Cannot wait to see you next weekend.
I know. I'm excited to come.
Oh, Finley.
I know. They're so fickle, aren't they?
They are. Like she didn't just eat right before we got on. But anyway.
Right.
We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. If you guys ever need anything, know that I'm always here to help any one of you. You know, it's important that, you know, you guys have multiple people to connect with and connect to. And so know that I'm just another resource available to all of you guys.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.